Here comes a guy who is so full of this new age stuff.
If they equate Cosmic Carlos with something that they don't understand because they're too much in the frequency of...
Carlos Santana is one of the most respected guitarists in the world. The Mexican-American musician brought Latin music into rock and roll and created some of the most famous guitar sounds in music history. For more than 50 years, he has been making music that touches people's hearts and souls. Santana has always been open about the guitarists who influenced him. He approaches music in a spiritual way and has great respect for the guitar as an instrument. This makes him one of the most thoughtful musicians when talking about guitar playing and what makes a great guitarist. According to Santana, the guitar is like a voice, and every great guitarist has something different to say. He believes the 5 players on his list didn't just play musical notes. Instead, they used their instruments to channel divine energy and connect with something greater than just entertainment. These guitarists aren't just technically skilled musicians. They are spiritual guides who showed Carlos that the guitar could be a way to reach for something bigger than just making music. They helped shape his unique sound by showing him different ways to think about and play the guitar. Let's look at the 5 guitarists who most influenced Carlos Santana's musical thinking and approach to the guitar. 5th place, Wes Montgomery, jazz guitar legend. Wes Montgomery comes in at number 5 on Carlos's list. Montgomery's revolutionary way of playing the guitar opened up completely new possibilities for the young Santana when he was still developing his own style. Carlos first heard Montgomery's music in the mid-1960s when he was working on his sound in San Francisco. He would spend many hours listening to Montgomery's albums, especially The Incredible Jazz Guitar and Smoking at the Half Note. According to people who worked with Santana, Carlos would listen carefully to how Montgomery made every note. Important. There was no wasted playing, no showing off, just pure musical conversation. What really caught Santana's attention was Montgomery's use of octaves and his thumb-picking technique instead of using a regular guitar pick. Santana said that Wes showed him that the guitar could be like an entire orchestra. Montgomery could play melody, harmony, and rhythm all at the same time and make it sound completely natural. This influence became even stronger when Santana started mixing jazz elements into his Latin rock music. Montgomery's approach to chord playing and melodic phrasing helped Carlos develop his distinctive style of playing long, sustained notes. When Santana plays those long, ringing notes, he's using what Wes taught him about making each note sacred and meaningful. Despite Montgomery's huge influence on jazz guitar, Carlos believes his contributions to music go far beyond just one type of music. For Santana, Wes Montgomery didn't just play jazz, he played joy. Montgomery showed Carlos that being technically excellent means nothing without emotional truth and feeling. For Carlos, Montgomery represents the perfect balance between technical skill and spiritual expression. He was a guitarist who proved that being a virtuoso player serves its highest purpose when it becomes a way to touch people's hearts and souls. 4th place, Gabor Szabo, Hungarian jazz guitarist. Gabor Szabo takes the 4th position. His exotic approach to guitar and willingness to blend Eastern musical ideas with Western instruments gave Carlos an important blueprint for his own cross-cultural musical explorations. Santana discovered Szabo's music in the late 1960s through producer Clive Davis, who played him Szabo's album Dreams, while they were talking about Carlos's musical direction. According to people who worked with Santana, Carlos was immediately struck by Szabo's use of modal scales and unusual guitar tunings. Carlos called his manager at 2 in the morning after hearing that album and said that Szabo was doing what he had been trying to figure out. He was making the guitar speak different languages and express different cultural feelings through music. What particularly connected with Santana was Szabo's way of incorporating Hungarian folk melodies and Indian classical music concepts into jazz frameworks. Szabo showed Carlos that the guitar could be a bridge between cultures. He proved that you didn't have to choose between honoring your heritage and playing contemporary music. You could honor both at the same time. The connection between the two musicians grew stronger when they reportedly met at a club in Los Angeles in 1969. According to people who witnessed their meeting, Szabo told the young Santana that his guitar already knew how to cry in Spanish, but now he should teach it to laugh in other languages too. This advice stuck with Carlos throughout his entire career. Szabo's influence can be heard throughout Santana's work. particularly in his use of Eastern-influenced scales and his approach to building musical tension through repetitive, hypnotic phrases. When Carlos plays songs like Europa or Samba Pati, he uses techniques that Szabo taught him about making the guitar sound meditative and spiritual. For Santana, Szabo represents the kind of fearless musical exploration that goes beyond boundaries. He was a guitarist who proved that being authentic comes from honoring all your influences rather than limiting yourself to just one musical tradition. Third P. Lace. B.B. King. The undisputed king of the blues himself, B.B. King, takes the third position. His emotional directness and masterful vibrato technique gave Carlos Santana the emotional foundation for his entire approach to playing guitar. Carlos first saw B.B. King perform at the Fillmore West in San Francisco in 1967, an experience he described as life-changing. The moment B.B. played his first note, Carlos understood that the guitar wasn't just an instrument, it was a voice for everything you couldn't say with words. B.B.'s guitar, which he called Lucille, was crying, laughing, preaching, and praying all at the same time. What particularly influenced Santana was King's philosophy that one note can say more than 1,000 notes. According to former Santana band members, Carlos would often reference this concept during recording sessions. He would stop the band in the middle of a solo and ask if they were just playing notes or if they were actually saying something meaningful. B.B. King taught Carlos the difference between technical playing and emotional expression. The relationship between the two guitarists grew into deep mutual respect over the decades. King reportedly told Santana backstage at a concert that he had taken what B.B. did and made it speak Spanish, which he thought was beautiful. According to people who worked with Carlos, he treasured this comment and would reference it when discussing his approach to sustain and vibrato. B.B. King's influence is most evident in Santana's use of sustained, crying guitar lines and his emphasis on emotional expression over technical showing off. King showed Carlos that the space between the notes is where the soul lives. When Santana bends a guitar string, he's trying to reach that sacred space that B.B. taught him about. For Santana, B.B. King represents the pure emotional power of the blues. He's a reminder that all technical ability must serve the deeper purpose of human connection and spiritual expression. The music has to touch people's hearts, not just impress them with skill. Second place, John McLaughlin. In second place is fusion pioneer John McLaughlin, whose blazing technical skill and spiritual approach to music pushed Carlos Santana to new levels of both virtuosity and consciousness. Their connection began in the early 1970s, when both guitarists were exploring the intersection of rock, jazz, and Eastern philosophy through their music. McLaughlin's work with Miles Davis and his own Mahavishnu Orchestra captivated Santana, who saw in the British guitarist a kindred spirit seeking transcendence through music. According to music historians, the two guitarists first met at a spiritual retreat in the mid-1970s, where they bonded over their shared interest in meditation and Eastern philosophy. Carlos said that meeting John was like finding a musical brother. They both understood that technical mastery was just the beginning. The real goal was spiritual elevation and using music to reach higher states of consciousness. What particularly impressed Santana about McLaughlin was his ability to combine lightning-fast technique with deep spiritual intention. John showed Carlos that speed and soul aren't opposites. When McLaughlin plays those impossibly fast musical runs, he's not showing off his technical skill. He's channeling divine energy at light speed. The mutual influence between the two guitarists led to their collaboration on the album Love, Devotion, Surrender in 1973, where they explored the teachings of spiritual teacher Sri Chinmoy through their guitars. Making that record with John taught Santana that two guitars could create something bigger than either player could achieve alone. They weren't competing with each other, they were communing and creating together. McLaughlin's influence pushed Santana to expand his technical vocabulary while maintaining his emotional core. John's playing reminded Carlos that virtuosity serves its highest purpose when it becomes a vehicle for love and spiritual expression. For Santana, McLaughlin represents the perfect fusion of Eastern spirituality and Western musical innovation. He's proof that the guitar can be both a technical instrument and a tool for expanding consciousness, and reaching higher spiritual states. First place, Jimi Hendrix. Taking the crown as Carlos Santana's favorite guitarist of all time is the cosmic innovator himself, Jimi Hendrix. His revolutionary approach to the electric guitar showed Carlos that the instrument could be a gateway to infinite musical possibilities. Santana first witnessed Hendrix's power at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967, where both were relatively unknown artists about to change music forever. Watching Jimi set his guitar on fire that night, Carlos realized he was seeing the future of rock and roll. Hendrix didn't just play the guitar, he became one with it, and through it, with the universe itself. What particularly revolutionized Santana's approach was Hendrix's use of feedback, distortion, and effects as actual musical elements rather than just sonic textures. According to people who worked with Santana, Carlos spent months after Monterey experimenting with different amplifier settings, trying to capture that Hendrix magic. Carlos learned that the amplifier is part of the instrument, and the whole setup has to sing together. The influence went beyond just technical innovation to philosophical transformation. Hendrix's fearless experimentation and willingness to push boundaries inspired Santana's own genre-blending approach. Jimi proved that there are no rules when you're channeling divine energy. If something feels right spiritually, it is right musically. The brief personal friendship between Hendrix and Santana before Jimi's death in 1970 left a lasting impact on Carlos. According to music journalists, Hendrix told Carlos backstage at a concert to keep pushing the boundaries because the guitar wants to take musicians to places they haven't imagined yet. This advice became a guiding principle for Santana's entire career. Even decades later, Santana continues to reference Hendrix's influence. Every time he plugs in his guitar, he's honoring what Jimi started. Hendrix showed all guitarists that the electric guitar could be a spiritual instrument, a tool for touching the face of God. For Carlos Santana, Jimi Hendrix represents the ultimate fusion of technical innovation, spiritual seeking, and fearless creativity. He was the guitarist who proved that when you surrender completely to the music, magic happens. The legacy continues. These 5 guitarists shaped the musical soul of Carlos Santana in different but important ways. From blues masters to fusion pioneers, each brought something essential to Carlos's cosmic guitar philosophy. They showed him that the guitar could be more than just an instrument for entertainment. It could be a voice for the soul, a bridge between cultures, and a tool for spiritual expression. Wes Montgomery taught him that every note should be sacred and meaningful. Gabor Szabo showed him that the guitar could speak different cultural languages. B.B. King demonstrated that the space between notes is where the soul lives. John McLaughlin proved that technical skill and spiritual seeking could work together. And Jimi Hendrix revealed that the guitar could be a gateway to infinite possibilities. Together, these influences helped create the unique sound and approach that has made Carlos Santana one of the most recognizable and respected guitarists in the world. His music continues to touch people across different cultures and generations, proving that when music comes from a spiritual place, it can truly connect with people's hearts and souls. The lesson from Santana's influences is clear. Great guitar playing isn't just about technical skill or showing off. It's about using the instrument to express something deeper, to connect with others, and to channel something greater than yourself. Whether you're playing blues, jazz, rock, or any other style of music, the most important thing is to play with soul, meaning, and spiritual intention. This approach to music and the guitar continues to influence new generations of musicians who, like Santana, seek to use their instruments not just for entertainment, but as tools for touching people's hearts and connecting with something divine through the power of music.